You want to get the essence of something interesting, right? Without getting bogged down. And maybe walk away with a few aha moments. Well, that's pretty much the deal here on the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're digging into something really universal. This recipe for rich and creamy garlic mushroom chicken Alfredo.
Sounds good already.
Doesn't it? We've got some fantastic writing about this dish, and our goal isn't just, how to cook it.
No, not just the steps.
Right. It's more about extracting the surprising and genuinely useful insights that are kind of baked right into the description itself.
Exactly. Think of it almost like culinary deconstruction. We're looking at the intent, the experience this recipe aims for.
Okay.
And maybe the underlying principles of how it's designed. Things that might resonate even beyond the kitchen.
Well, I have to say, the descriptions in our sources are enough to make your stomach rumble. Seriously.
Yeah.
We're seeing phrases like creamy, dreamy masterpiece, a dish that wraps you in warmth, even comfort turned gourmet. It really paints a picture of something pretty special, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That language, it immediately signals a kind of deliberate elevation, taking something familiar and boosting it.
Right.
Words like masterpiece suggest like a really thoughtful construction.
Right.
And the focus on warmth and comfort that hints at maybe an emotional connection that the dish is trying to make. It's aiming for, more than just filling you up.
And the promises of texture and flavor are just as tempting. You've got tender chicken, that silky, savory sauce,
right,
crispy potatoes, and then a bright pesto. It sounds like a deliberate mix of different sensations.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that contrast right off the bat.
Yeah.
You expect richness from Alfredo, right? Which often feels kind of heavy.
Totally.
But then putting that next to a bright pesto, it suggests an intention to create complexity, to stop the dish feeling like one note. Like a culinary push and pull, maybe.
Absolutely. And the writing really leans into the experience of eating it. It talks about slowing down, savoring each bite, that, wow, you're supposed to get after the first taste.
Right.
It's not just about getting dinner ready quickly. It's setting up a moment of real enjoyment.
And that, I think, highlights a shift in how we sometimes think about food now. It's moving beyond just, fuel to become a more mindful thing, appreciating not just the taste, but the whole sensory package, even the thought behind it.
Now, here's a crucial point our source material makes very clear. This isn't your average Alfredo.
Okay.
It points directly to the layers and the richness, saying it isn't holding back.
Yeah.
So let's dive into those layers, starting with the core, the chicken, and the Alfredo itself.
Right, so the central parts are pretty classic, really. You've got sliced, boneless, skinless chicken breast, cooked quickly in a pan with minced garlic and sliced cremini mushrooms, standard stuff, and the Alfredo sauce itself. Well, the richness comes from heavy cream and Parmesan cheese, seasoned simply, salt, freshly cracked black pepper. It's a familiar base, something most people probably know.
Right, a reliable starting point. But then we get to the side dish, these roasted garlic Parmesan potatoes. This feels like a deliberate choice, something more than just, say, boiled potatoes.
Oh, it definitely is. Here, they use Yukon Gold potatoes, and it's worth noting their slightly waxy texture helps them hold up. During roasting, they don't fall apart.
Good.
They're tossed with olive oil, minced garlic, there's that garlic again, Parmesan cheese, dried oregano, salt, and pepper. And the roasting process itself, 20, 25 minutes in the oven, flipping them halfway. That's key. That's how you get that golden brown, crispy outside.
Yeah.
Which gives you that really welcome textural contrast later.
And that double hit of garlic sautéed in the sauce and then roasted onto the potatoes. You can almost smell it just reading about it, can't you?
Yeah.
It suggests a real commitment to that flavor.
It's a smart technique, actually. Because you're using garlic in different forms and with different cooking methods. Well, sautéing it in the sauce infuses the flavor gently, right? But roasting it with the potatoes gives you a more caramelized, intense garlic note.
Okay.
So you end up building a more complex, aromatic garlic profile through the whole dish. Not just one flat note.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the rich and savory base, the crispy potatoes.
Yeah.
Now for that promise of brightness, the rich basil pesto cream drizzle. This sounds like the element that really kicks it up a notch.
It does. And what's fascinating here is how they take something vibrant and herbaceous like pesto.
Yeah.
And turn it into this smoother, more luxurious cream drizzle just by adding heavy cream.
Simple as that.
Seems so.
Yeah.
The pesto itself is classic. Fresh basil, and the quality of that basil will really make a difference here.
Of course.
Parmesan, garlic, olive oil, all blended smooth. But then the cream adds another layer of richness, sure, but also that silky texture. Makes it perfect for drizzling. Adds another dimension.
So when you put it all together, you've got the richness from the Alfredo, the earthiness from the mushrooms, the savoriness of the chicken and Parmesan, then the crispy potatoes, giving that textural crunch.
Right.
And finally, this fresh, almost zesty basil pesto cream drizzled over everything. It really does sound like all those elements are designed to work together.
Precisely. And think about how the cooking methods contribute to that final experience.
So go on.
Sautéing the chicken and mushrooms keeps them tender. Roasting the potatoes creates that essential crispness that's the Maillard reaction, the browning that builds flavor and texture.
Well,
And blending the pesto makes a smooth, flowing sauce. Each technique isn't random. It serves a specific purpose in building the final plate.
okay, so for you listening right now, maybe looking for the key takeaways, what are the most important things to sort of glean from this deep dive into just one recipe?
Well, I think the main lesson here is the power of thoughtful layering.
Layering, yeah.
This recipe isn't just throwing ingredients together. It's about constructing this multisensory experience. It uses distinct components that interact, that enhance each other.
Right.
You've got layers of flavor, rich, earthy, savory, bright, but also layers of texture, creamy, tender, crispy, smooth.
It's like building an argument with different kinds of evidence.
That's a great analogy, actually. Yeah, each part contributes a unique strength to the whole thing.
And it seems like the quality of those individual parts really matters too, especially, say, fresh basil for that vibrant pesto, and getting a good Parmesan for both the sauce and the potatoes.
Absolutely. When you're aiming for those bright, fresh notes, like with the basil, using high-quality, genuinely fresh ingredients makes a huge difference you can actually taste.
Yeah.
And similarly, a good aged Parmesan. It brings a deeper, more complex, nutty, and savory flavor. It just elevates the whole dish. It's like using high-res photos versus pixelated ones. The clarity, the detail,
Right.
it's just better.
And it's also about taking familiar ideas, right? Like Alfredo, like roasted potatoes, and making them more interesting. Using clever additions, clever techniques. That double use of garlic we talked about, that pesto cream drizzle. These aren't super complicated things, but they definitely add a more gourmet touch.
Exactly. This recipe really shows that innovation doesn't always mean totally new ingredients.
Right.
Sometimes it's about understanding how to use familiar things in creative ways, focusing on how different flavors and textures play off each other to create something more complex and ultimately more satisfying.
So understanding the basics and then building on them intentionally.
That's it. Understanding the fundamentals and then adding layers with purpose.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into this rich and creamy garlic mushroom chicken Alfredo, we've seen how it's much more than just a shopping list and instructions.
Definitely.
It's a carefully orchestrated dish. It features layers of richness, those contrasting textures we talked about, and a really considered combination of comforting and more vibrant flavors.
And that maybe leads to a final thought for you, the listener. Consider how this principle, layering different elements to create a richer, more complex outcome, might apply outside the kitchen.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. In your own areas of interest, maybe your work. What seemingly different components could you combine, maybe in unexpected ways, to achieve a result that's truly impactful, truly satisfying? What surprising combinations might unlock your own wow moment?